3, 2, 1.
Brad,
Peyton,
thanks for coming on, man.
you bet, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. We were just kind of talking a little bit about how we originally got connected and had Mitch Case on,
Yep.
and then you replied in the comments section on LinkedIn. Then we got coffee. That was like a year ago.
I think it was. Yeah. I remember Mitch Case, a good friend of mine, and saw the post on LinkedIn, commented, and you asked me to coffee and said, "Heck yeah, man, let's do it."
Yeah, here we are.
Yep.
And we've conducted a little bit of business together.
Yeah.
And it's been a great experience. You're an awesome guy. And I'm glad you could come on, kind of tell a bit more about your story,
For sure.
about your company and things of that nature. And so you're the Vice President of Sales for CFM.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll let you take the floor and talk more about CFM and their history.
Yeah. So CFM, we were founded in 1969. So just a few months before I was born. But we were founded by Bruce Huffman and Amos Roberts in 1969, and so we just had our 50-year anniversary,
Wow.
which was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Threw a big party. It was a great time.
And that was started here in Kansas City?
Started here in Kansas City. So we've got our headquarters is here in Kansas City, and then we have locations in the Midwest: Des Moines, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Springfield, Missouri, and Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been around for 50 years, and we're an HVAC wholesale distributor, and we do anything from small residential equipment that you'd have in your house, an air conditioner and furnace, up to anything. I think the biggest piece of equipment that we do is 360 tons. So we have a pretty wide gamut of equipment, and we also do refrigeration and parts as well. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot view of CFM.
So if I wanted to buy a house and I needed a new HVAC unit in my house, how would we come together?
Yeah, so we, since we're a wholesale distributor, we sell to the contractor.
Okay.
So contractors are our customers. So you would contact one of our dealers. You'd go online, you'd research what type of equipment you wanted if you were so inclined to do so. Most of the market is reactive and doesn't do the research part and just does a Google search for a contractor. But once you get a hold of a contractor, and if they were part of our dealer network, they would reach out to us and say, "Hey, we need a quote on this size unit for Peyton's house." Some of our customers have their own price sheets, and they already know what they need, and they would just go to your house and tell you, "Hey, you need a new heat pump or a new 3-ton air conditioner, or you need a new furnace."
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how that would work. But people that I know and people at CFM, if we know homeowners or building owners, a lot of times we work with them and to help them size the equipment.
Okay.
Or help them figure out, "Hey, we've got an issue with this. Can you help me with it?" But ultimately, you would be buying it through one of the network of dealers or contractors that we work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what percentage of your guys' transactions are residential versus a commercial building?
Yeah, so probably about 65% or 70% is residential, and the rest of it's commercial. Okay. And it was probably skewed a little bit more residential through the most part of the history, but part of what my role at CFM has been over the past 10 plus years now is to build out our commercial side. So as we continue to move forward, the commercial side will begin to probably be a little bit larger portion of our portfolio.
And are your clients on the residential and commercial side, the buyers, are they mostly in the Central States area, or are you guys on the coast?
No, we're just Midwest. So we've got essentially the western half of Missouri from Columbia over, and then all of Nebraska, all of Kansas, and then about 2/3 of Iowa. So just kind of the 3.5, 4-state area.
Yeah. Are you guys looking to expand outside of the region?
I mean, we will. The hard part with us expanding is we're tied to our manufacturers. So York, for example, or Resner, or whatever brand we're representing, already has a network of distributors around the country. So unlike a lot of other businesses that just say, "Hey, let's go ahead and expand to another part of the territory or another part of the country," there's already a York distributor in Oklahoma. There's already a York distributor in Colorado. So for us to take over that business, there would have to be some type of falling out from that distributor, and then there'd be an opening, which did happen about 8 or so years ago in Omaha, Nebraska. There was another distributor up there, and not sure exactly how it happened or what happened, but York came to us and said, hey, we need a new distributor up here. Would you guys be interested in expanding?
Okay.
So we were happy to do that. We looked at the situation, made the numbers work, and we expanded. So we are always looking to expand if it makes sense. And typically it's going to be kind of one state at a time.
Yeah.
And again, it just kind of depends on how that works with the manufacturers.
And how long have you been with CFM?
13 years.
13 years. And it was your first position out of college?
Yeah. So I graduated from Missouri and had no clue what I want to do.
And you graduated with a mechanical engineering degree?
Yeah, mechanical engineering degree.
And I'm sure especially at that time, they weren't promoting for engineers to get into sales.
No. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I had no clue what I wanted to do. And all my friends were, doing design engineering and process engineering. And I'm like, I realized kind of at the last minute that that's just not what I was built to do. And I had a couple buddies that had graduated right before me that were working for some other companies in the HVAC space, and they had just mentioned, hey, you should check this out because it's very technical, which is good for an engineer, but you also get to deal with people, and there's decent money in it, and so I said, okay, I'll think about it. And I had my resume on the Mizzou whatever posting board that they have, and a guy that was my boss up until about a couple of years ago reached out to me and said, hey, we're looking for someone to come in and help us with sales, and just kind of worked out. And so I came out for a couple of interviews, and I tell almost everybody at first I figured I'll just take this job and see what it's like, and then figure out what I really want to do with my life. And then it seemed like every year things just kind of kept getting better and better at CFM. And the people at CFM are great. And next thing I know, it's been 13 years, and it's just been a wild ride.
Yeah. Well, I think it's such a unique skill set that other than you and Mitch, I don't really know of any other sales engineers, guys who are as technical as you all and that are able to be customer facing. You just don't. I haven't seen a lot.
I mean, they're out there, but it's definitely a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
And I've been working now for a little bit to try to find some candidates, and frankly, I mean, I'd hired 2 previous to the ones that we've been working on, and it didn't seem like it was that difficult at the time. But for whatever reason, just all of a sudden, I'd met 75 engineers at a recent career fair, and it seemed like I couldn't even get hardly any of the engineers to have a real, just normal conversation. And
why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with the way that technology has changed over the last 5 or 10 years, and everyone's grown up with iPads and social media and less, running over to your neighbor's house and knocking on the door and getting people to play, and it's just text messages. And I don't want that to be the case, but I've started to wonder if that's kind of the case. I also don't know if it's just timing and this group of engineers that are all about to graduate. It's just a timing thing. I don't know what it is. So it's definitely a unique skill set.
Yeah.
Our industry has a number of them, but they are difficult to find and hard to come across. And that's what's making this the last couple hires so challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think makes a successful sales engineer, or someone to be successful in your company?
Yeah. So, well, for the sales engineer thing, I would say the biggest thing, part of the reason we look for an engineer is because what we do is very technical. So the products that we work on, a decent chunk of the portfolio isn't super technical, but 60 to 70% is very technical. It's custom projects, and we're doing everything from walking jobs to helping contractors do load calculations, helping contractors do energy analysis, and there's a lot of kilowatt per hour and BTUs per square foot and square foot per tons and a lot of technical jargon. And if you've got an engineering degree, it sort of checks the box that you're smart enough and you're a good problem solver. So the next box for the sales engineer is, are you good with people? And are you curious? Are you naturally interested in the work you're working on? So that's essentially in a lot of cases what I'm looking for that role is somebody that's outgoing and eager to meet people and happy to shake hands, meet people, and that sort of thing. As far as in the company, and this is, for the sales engineer role, or for the company, is just being a problem solver, really. And this goes for, any role at any company. I talk to people about this all the time, is if you want to be successful, go fix problems that your company's having. Go, if your company is having a hard time hiring people, go help your company find people.
Yeah.
If your company is having a hard time with sales, go try to sell something.
That's a great point.
If whatever the problem is,
people are scared to take that initiative.
They are.
Reminds me of the Johnny Hildress chat we had with him. He's over at Spring Venture Group, and he's one of the youngest executives that we've ever met. And he did the exact same thing. They were trying to figure out an algorithm, taught himself some algorithm programming languages, and now he's skyrocketed his career.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of people now in 2020, 2019, that are taking that kind of initiative with the company.
Yeah, to me, it seems obvious to help whatever the biggest problem is, but a lot of people, they just want to stay in their lane. They want to get told what to do, and that's fine. But if you want to be a leader or an executive in your company, one of the things that sets those people apart is they're proactively solving problems for their company. And the other thing that you can do too is if you want to be whatever position you want to be, so let's say you want to be a sales manager, then help your team put together a sales playbook, or help coach somebody, help train somebody, start doing the things that position would do. And what a lot of people get stuck in is they say, I'm going to wait till there's a job opening and then apply, instead of thinking about what they actually want to do. Start doing the things that person would do. And what's funny is this happens all the time at our company, and I'm sure it happens everywhere else too, is someone says, hey, we need a new XYZ person, because as you grow, all of a sudden positions start opening up that never even were there before. A lot of people think that, a VP of sales or a VP of marketing or a COO or whatever it is, there's only one position. Well, about 8 or 9 years ago at CFM, there was one person that was a VP of sales and marketing, and now we have 3 people that do that same role, broken up because as we've grown. But if you were just waiting around to get promoted, and you could easily get passed by. However, if you thought this is a position I want to be in, and maybe it's going to happen in 5 or 10 years, maybe unfortunately happen with another company, but once you realize as a leader, okay, this position is about to open up, who would be a good fit? And you're like, oh, John over here, he's been doing all this stuff. It kind of seems like he should be the one to have this role. And then it just all of a sudden, next thing you know, you have that position. And the cool thing about that for John and the company is you already know that person can handle those responsibilities because they've already been doing it. Yeah. So find whatever the problem is that needs to be solved and just go solve it.
That's some of the best advice I think I've heard yet. That's good. How many people on your team now that are sales engineers?
Yep.
And what is are you the go-to mentor guy for your current team?
Yeah, so we've got 6 people on my team, which essentially started probably 6 or 7 years ago. It was just me, and really before me it was my boss. And he kind of transitioned into the operational side of the company. And then over the past 5 or 6 years, we've grown. Now we have 6 people on our team, 3 that are sales engineers, and then 3 that are, inside sales, operational type folks. And we're a small group of the greater CFM. So CFM's about a 75-person company. And so we're a nimble group of 6 of us. And yeah, I enjoy helping the team succeed in whatever we're working on. So we do, we have a meeting every 2 weeks where we get together and either do training on, a sales training or a product training or just a overall strategy training. And then I get together with everyone on my team individually at a certain cadence and help coach and mentor them. And that's been a ton of fun for me, helping especially the the folks that had just graduated, and you got these young kids essentially that are 21, 22, 23 years old, and coming into the real world and having the actual first job. And a lot of times, just like I was, 13 years ago, thought, well, this will just be, my first job out of college. I'll see where it really goes. And actually getting them to the point where they absolutely love coming to work every day, and we just have a blast. And that's why I don't work from home very often, because I love being in the office and just feeling the energy and brainstorming and talking about jobs and figuring out, how can we tackle this market or just, sharing success stories. And so, yeah, it's a blast.
So I'm sure your space is pretty competitive. What do you think is the edge or the secret sauce at CFM?
Yeah, I mean, this might be overstated, but the people at CFM, I mean, that's the one thing that's kept me around, is the people have been great. There's been a really good mix of people who are super intelligent about the industry that have been around 30, 40 years. There's some super bright minds from the technical side, from the sales side, the leadership side, the marketing side, the whole thing. And everyone is super willing to help out. I was actually meeting with a new employee last week, and I spent about 2 or 3 hours with him, and he's on a totally different team. Mm-hmm. And I'm just kind of, meeting him, getting to know him, teaching him a little bit about our team, the Applied Systems Group. And about halfway through, he said, I don't even know how to say this, but I've never been in a company before where there's been this many people that have gone out of their way to make sure that I'm getting all the information and everything that I need to be successful. He's like, I just can't even believe it. And and I've heard that a few times recently, and it makes me proud to be an employee at CFM. So, I mean,
it's great.
The people, number one, we're really ramping up training. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the things that, to be successful at your job, I actually just wrote an article about this last week. It was really more about sales than anything else. But if one way to get better at your job is to just learn one more thing about whatever your emphasis is. In this case, it was sales. So if you want to be a great marketer, just go read something about marketing. If you want to be a great salesperson, go read something about sales. And so whatever function you have at CFM, if you want to be better at that function, go learn something. So one of the things that we just implemented, it's called CFM University. And every Monday at 2:00, it's about 30, 45 minute university session. And it's located at our headquarters in Kansas City, but then broadcast online, so any of our other stores can tune in. And every week it's a different topic, and every week it's hosted by a different leader in our company. So we've got, I host one of those, and we talk about sometimes commercial equipment, sometimes we talk about it just depends what it is, but we cover a wide range. Then we have one on the residential team, one on the parts group, one on the refrigeration group, and every week we come together and we train people. And one of the things that we're implementing now, which is kind of cool, is a test in that training. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you've ever sat through training before where it's not necessarily mandatory and there's no test. You can kind of all of a sudden see people looking at their phone. Yeah. And so it's been kind of fun. And I do the same thing for my onboarding, is I've got basically testing just like you do in school. And so there's a 30 or 45 minute CFM University, and there's a little test you follow along, and then we do a little quick trip, gift card giveaway at the end. Yeah. So it gives everyone an excuse to go sit through some training, but also learn things and have fun. And so, I mean, overall, I'd say there's a bunch more, but I would say the people, training, and it's a fun place to be.
What are you, lastly, what are you most excited about, with the future with CFM? Is there anything that really gets you excited for the next couple of years? Yeah, so
the big thing really is we're becoming almost a technology company. And as technology continues to just change at a rapid pace, that's the name of the game for really a lot of companies in almost every space is what can you do? How can you use technology to improve, how to reduce order friction? You look at a company like Amazon, which we're obviously not even close to Amazon, but they make it so easy that you push one button and the next day you've got whatever you need. So we're constantly asking ourselves, what can we do to reduce order friction? What can we do to make buying from CFM an easier process? So, for anyone listening to this, if you are interested in tinkering with technology and like to build things and like to build systems and processes, there is just so much potential in the technology space. And we hired a guy recently that's in our IT group that helps us with technology stuff, and it's been a great investment because he's able to help us do a lot of things that we couldn't do before. So I would just say, especially me, I'm a tech guy. I mean, I like the gadgets and I like, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of particular to it, but that is what I see as sort of what's on the horizon for CFM, and it's exciting things to come.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing your story, talking more about CFM. Guys, if you want to get in touch with Brad, you can send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll get you guys connected. If you're an aspiring sales engineer, please do the same. But thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
Really appreciate it.
It was awesome. Thank you.
All right,
appreciate
great.
it.
Cool.